they're big. You're big people. You know what to do. You make the decision. You take the risk. Just like anybody, just like the Pilgrims when they came over to America. You know, they were told stories. They came and they took their chances, met the Indians, etc. The only guarantee there is of anything is when you don't do it. That's the only guarantee you're going to get. So what are you going to do when you get here? Well, I would say prepare yourself. The idea is for the people that are coming here, in other words, it's not a hippie community, it's not passive, it's to where if you want to come here, and I will support those that will do what we're doing here, okay? Otherwise, you have to figure it out. In other words, how do you see it? See, again, your mind is asking the question, and this is where you learn to see what to do. And the real guys, Rebus and the boys and myself and whatever, will give you hints on the real side and here as to what's possible for you, but you are the decider. Keep that in mind. So when you're asking the question, it's like you're asking the question of someone else to decide for you. What do you mean? What are you going to do when you come here? I didn't ask that question. I just came and I figured it out when I got here. That's what we're doing. We just figure it out when you get here. So, you know, it's like I'll go anywhere. You know, if I see that, okay, I'm going to go over here. You know, Africa was the next step. It was really Africa, but Mexico made more sense because it gave the first step. And then eventually it was going to be Africa, but we'll see how, you know, the world goes or whatever. You know, that's been shown to me a long time ago. But, you know, the world consciousness and the world situation changes constantly. It's like the ocean, you know, sometimes there's waves, sometimes there's no waves. It's whatever's coming next. And so that's the idea. If you want to come over here, you take the risk. And only those that take the risk will see. Those that don't, won't. That's how it works. So the old ways of doing things, yes, you plan your trip, you buy your airplane ticket, whatever. Oh, we're going to go on vacation. You saw the brochures. Oh, you know, you see the beaches, you see the hotel, you see the dining, whatever. It's all laid out for you. It's a non-think situation. Our position is awareness and survival. It's not just social. You have that aspect to you. But now it's the bigger picture, and this is where, again, most people will just stay with their old routines, stay attached to their ideas and how they've been brought up. Again, we're people on the earth. All this stuff where these different countries are made up, the hundreds of countries, that's all make-believe. We're people on the earth. We came here to wake up and, you know, get going with becoming more aware and recognizing the is. But for the most part, see, this is why, like just what I said about the Kali Yugas and whatever, that's a framework. That's a mental mind framework. And what Paul did with the different lower worlds, higher worlds, etc., that's a mental mind framework, is what it is. And as you frame yourself with that, then you stay stuck with that framework. It just becomes literal. Life becomes literal to you, thinking that these ideas, and someone else created them, yeah, and they are workable in a physical sense and even mental, but realistically with the isness, no, they don't exist at all. Zero. They don't exist. So where is the focus? Where is your focus? Is your focus on becoming more aware? Or is your focus just your personal self and all the concerns you have? Are you going to take the risk to see that real awareness, to take on that adventure? Yeah, you've got children, you got whatever. Well, you know what? If you have children, I would ask the children, because the children are usually more intuitive than the parents are. And that's how I taught the daughter that I had, that I raised. I taught her to be intuitive, not mental, I didn't show her how to set up schedules and, you know, go for a career and all these things, because I knew that she would be doing that in the world only. I didn't set that into motion for her. I taught her to see beyond creation. And so each one of you or anybody else, this is the whole idea. I'm adamant on that. If you want to learn schooling and how to be prepared for things and whatever, be a Boy Scout, go to college, whatever, that's their thing. My position of presenting something is the intuitive senses to start off and then become more aware and recognize the real you so that you're free of all this nonsense and scheduling. I don't want to carry any of that stuff. I take things moment by moment, I put things into motion, and then I see how they show up and I deal with them. But other than that, it's always a risk-taker position. I don't know. I'm not concerned. My focus, my so-called happiness or my love affair is just focusing on the is. Whether I see it or not, it all is. And so this is the idea of what I'm presenting. This is the real idea here, the real reference, as opposed to some kind of plan or schedule or mind-framed ideas. We play with those things, but overall, that's not it at all. And this is where, I've always looked for people that can see, start off with the psychics and seers, because they can see something else and try to promote them and introduce them to the real guides so they can start to get a real education, so they can start to see beyond their personal senses and start preparing themselves for something more than just more lifetimes of chasing good ideas that sound good, you see? And we've went on with this for a long, long time, like the Palladians and all that. Well, most people don't know the Palladians built the warships for the reptilians. Yeah, they're not all cool. And I was into some of that stuff at a very, very young age, and it all sounded good, but it was a lot of pretty words. And you know what? It never went anywhere. And where are these so-called aliens that are supposed to save the world and whatever? Where in the heck are they? Well, because they don't have the awareness and they just give out sound good stuff, a lot of them, etc. These different paths and whatever. But they never refer to anything more than creation. They just refer to things in creation, which keeps you locked there. And most people are looking for a happy little place in creation. These are the heavens that you supposedly go to after this, the astral meta worlds. And yeah, they're wonderful. And this is where you'll see the real guides. You'll see them in the astral meta worlds, and they are wonderful places. But that's not it. And that's why the Ekis are lost. Because they've been so mind-framed, they don't want to take the risk. They want to stay mind-framed to the old ideas that were in the babysitting days. And this is the new wave is to where you learn to see it and prepare yourself accordingly, and you take the risk every moment to see what life will show you, and then you decide from there, because you must keep deciding. So every step of the way, so it's just like, you don't know what you're going to do over here, but you get off the plane, and all of a sudden you don't know, but you start to do something, and little by little, things happen, don't they? Yeah, and they will. But you got to decide to take the first step. But if you don't, then you'll never know, will you? So most of the people that I've known, and I was the one that started the new presentation, all the people that I knew in EC and whatever, I was a higher initiate, I was 7th initiate. I won it very fast because I was very aware. The thing is that all those people, where are they? I did it by myself because you know what? They wouldn't do it. They wanted to stay the same. They wanted to follow Harry and Darwin. And so look at this position you have now. Look at the privilege. It's a risk-taker position. That's how it is. It's very, very real. That's how real it gets. And so each person has to deal with their personal emotional attachments to ideas. And again, we've been brought up through ideas, family, friends, relationships, jobs, careers, all these things. Yes, you do them. You don't give them up. You don't walk away. But you respectfully, you see them for what they are. They're just made up things. And each one of us is an awesome being of light. This is what I look for. I look for that precious, sincere reality in each person. But will they see it themselves? And will they promote that? That's huge because no one else in the world is doing it. And most of these paths and these whatever and the space people, what are they promoting? Sound good stuff. Well, they have knowledge, they have this or that or whatever. They know about the planets and they know this and that. Well, okay, whoopee-doo. I don't know a lot of these things. I'm not interested. My focus is the is and looking for people that are sincere that want to step up. So you got to take the risk. Bottom line, you got to take the risk. And if you don't, you won't know. It's that simple. And, you know, there are people even in the Skypes that are given hints and they just sit there. There was an experience the other day where Paul came to someone and it's like, you got to get on the ball. Well, I see this person. I know what's going on. Well, it's their business, their life. They don't want to do it. And they don't realize that just because they're having real side experiences, that it's all done for them. Those are only the hints. The real side experiences are hints and references, not the true reality your awareness is. You got to figure that out. You got to recognize that. That's how real it gets. It gets far too real. And so we're going through the process here. That's what we're doing. But you have to continually take the risk to see more. You see? See more than just your mind and what your personal mind wants, but to see what else there is. And after a while, you learn to be flexible and you see how it works. And take the responsibility on for yourself and to do something. You know, I'm doing a whole lot here. I'm trying to get finances together for the whole world. And so I'm communicating all over the world with people, etc., facing the governments, etc., and to get them to, you know, see what we're doing, etc., in this physical sense, just for here, because this is the hardest place. And each person that is here in this Skype, that's the whole idea. The idea here is not to look for happiness and become more emotionally attached to, you know, reference ideas. The idea is to learn to see and to do something and become a real person. Yeah, become a real person. More so than just a person that's emotionally attached to all the things that they grew up with in the old routines. But again, that's a big decision, and most people won't do it. They will stay the same. And eventually what will happen is that all those cute little ideas that you're attached to, most of them will fall back. And I told this with Ava when she came here. I said, you watch. The people that you think will stick around, they're the ones that will leave. And she's watched this for the last 10 years. Because after a while, the real side experiences get boring. The family comes along. You have more children. You have grandchildren, etc. I've seen it. Oh, yeah. It's a real test here to be real with everyone. Yeah, it's a real test, kids. And so, but I'm fine with it, whatever anybody decides, because I'm just very focused. And as people come and go, I just become more adamant with my focus, because that's it. It's a love affair with me. It has to become a love affair. And Rebazar talked about this in Paul's day. He said it has to become a marriage, you know, with life. So when people have the experiences of marrying Rebazar on the real side, it's not something personal. It's a marriage with life, but you have to recognize it. And it's just like two people getting married. Yeah, they can like each other, etc. But it should be to where they become more aware of the situation as to what they've agreed to and do actually better. And this is how Ava and I have come along, because it's being to being. It's not just body to body. Yeah. That's how most things are here, body to body. And that's what the WorldKontrollers want. They want you to stay body to body. And most marriages, or many of them, what do they end up in? Divorces, because it's body to body. And look at your mates, look at the ideas, look at the drama. And the controllers know this. That's why they invented the marriage idea. Real marriage is with the isness. Recognizing that, and that becomes your whole life. Until then you're part person, because this is how you've been taught to think. Look at your thinking, look at your wants and likes and dislikes, etc. Whatever it is that you frame yourself with and how you see yourself, you keep thinking that you are the person only, and you're not. These are vehicles that you're operating with your real awareness. Do you focus on that? Do you learn to see that? That's what life is. This is what life isn't. But we need this reference to eventually compare and recognize what life is. So that's the focus, and that's the reference. That's the idea. And so I am just putting together steps for people to go through those steps so that they can have the opportunity to become more aware, to create something here to prove to somebody that there's a better way to live here and then excel and get better, etc. You see? Look at the world in the last 300 years. Look at the indigenous people. They didn't care about other countries in the world. They didn't care what other people were doing across the seas in China and the North Pole and whatever. They didn't care. They didn't care about this stuff. They lived on the land. They focused on the natural environment. And look at the transition in the last 300 years for this world, how it's all become totally agreeable destructive. What really makes sense? So step one is to provide something all natural with surviving the earth, first of all, and having a focus not to destroy the environment like the birds, and then from there excel with your intuitive senses to eventually gain the insight to recognize your real awareness. That's the real purpose. That seems to make sense, but that's what I do. So there you go.